more good you get at creating this consistency with your messaging, it's easier on you and the team, and your audience loves it. They feel very grounded and oriented in who you are and how you speak to them because it's so consistent. And that really matters with branding.
Welcome back. Natalie Jill and Sinclair here. And today we're talking about simple rules for creating effective brand messaging. Sinclair's got a great method and let's dive in. Let's talk about it, Sinclair.
This is so easy and fun to do. I think branding, we make it really hard because it sounds abstract, and yet somehow it has to feel really deeply resonant with our audience. There's a very simple way to zero in on the tone that you're going to talk to people with. So yes, branding is a lot of things. It's the voice that you use, and it's also all the visual elements. And I use a very simple exercise. I just call it this, but not that, to help guide our framework for how we're talking to our audience. And you have a this, but not that for your writing voice, and a this, but not that for your visuals. And I'll explain how this works.
Give me some examples here. Yeah. Give me some examples. Yeah. This, but not that.
So in our brand voice guidelines, in our this, but not that list, I have sophisticated, but not snooty, because my customer is very sophisticated, but she doesn't want to be talked to like she's a snob or we're a snob. Informal, but not unprofessional. This, but not that. Warm and intimate, but not smarmy. Right?
Oh, like that.
Right. My brand is womanly, but it's not girly. Huge distinction here, right? So you're giving your team and yourself bumper lanes, because a big part of branding and making sure that it's resonant with your audience is consistency. One voice, always, right? Brassy, but not bitchy. Super important distinction. I can be sassy, but if I go into like,
did you say brassy or sassy?
Brassy, but not bitchy.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I am brassy, but but I don't want to pull in the consumer that wants to hang out with a bitchy brand, because that is not me, right? And by extension of that, rebellious, but not an asshole. We do talk in very clear terms about what's not working in the health world and what's not working in the business world, but we're not doing it in a way that burns bridges, right? So it's just a little rebellious. But, and then spiritual, but not ungrounded. You hear me talk about spiritual stuff all the time, right? I'll talk about spiritual laws and selling all the time, but it's not in a woo-woo, like lift off, totally, separate from reality way.
I think it's so good that you do this, because I think so many people listening, they get that first part, who is my person, but we're not giving them permission, or we haven't given that permission to go to but what are they not? And
yes,
I love that bumper rail there, because especially if you can talk into both, you're really going to zone in and get your ideal person.
Yes. And that goes to everything. It's not just on your website copy, but it's also in your social. It's even in your signups on your emails. Like I sign my emails XO Sinclair or rooting for you, Sinclair, but I would never say, love ya, babe, or anything that feels like that. It's too far over the line, And so this is really easy for my team to follow, and it's really easy for me to follow over the years. So every single interaction with my brand should feel resonant in the same way to my audience, right? So it goes to visuals too, right? You do a this, but not that for visuals. So ours is like bohemian glam, but not, hippie granola, right? It's modern.
She also told me it's not hot pink, so that we had to talk about that.
Yes, hot pink is rolled out.
We're not hot pink, even though I'm hot pink everything aside from our stuff together. But that's okay. That's how much I love you, Sinclair.
Well,
I gave up the hot pink for you.
Oh, I feel so loved. So, but that for me would be like girly, but not womanly, right? So that's why it wouldn't fit for me. So like the natural elements and textures, right? We always want to do that, but we don't. But it's really important that it be happening a certain way. So that's where the glam part comes in with bohemian glam. We also do, I say modern, but not stark, for our graphic designers and people like that. Like you want to have visual elements that explain, yes, it feels like this, but not if it goes too far. This is the line of where it would go too far. And it's super helpful and empowering for your team, because you need to give your team bumper rails so that there is consistency. They want to help you speak to your audience, but you have to teach them how. And it's exhausting for independent contractors and employees to try to please you and have you say like, no, it's not quite it right, when they've already made the effort. If the more good you get at creating this consistency with your messaging, it's easier on you and the team, and your audience loves it. They feel very grounded and oriented in who you are and how you speak to them because it's so consistent. And that really matters with branding.
So good. So bumper rails, give your team those for sure. Let's get away from just saying this, because we go down that big world of they are this. And that'll help you stop getting angry when your marketing team writes an email that starts with, "Hey girl," because you said, now I know I gave them bumper rails. So good. Thank you for this. Very clear.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Try it, guys. This, but not that.